Hi, it's Short Movie Recap here. Today I will be explaining a 1996 horror adaptation movie called Thinner. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care.
In Connecticut, Attorney Billy peeks out the window and sees a gypsy crew rolling into town. After grumbling, he heads to the restroom to check his pounds, but no weight loss, even though he's supposed to be slimming down. Later, he goes to eat with his wife Heidi and their daughter Linda. It's breakfast time. Soon, Heidi asks about his weight. He fibs, saying 297, the same as last week. Turns out he's rather been adding a lot of weight lately. Then Billy heads to court in defense of his client, a mob boss named Richie. A seriously awful guy who deserves jail, but Billy proves there's not enough proof, and he easily wins the case. After the legal showdown, Billy hits up his law office and finds out that the gypsy crew has set up shop at the public park nearby. Everyone's enjoying the music and games, but when a gypsy lady hands Billy a flyer and invites him over, he doesn't seem too excited. Billy heads up the steps to his workspace, feeling really worn out. His superior guides Billy to the glass and shows him a fortune teller named Gina, instructing him to offer her 25 cents and requests her to lift her skirt. But Billy isn't keen on the idea. Later, as Billy exits his workplace, he runs into Judge Rossington, who is thoroughly repulsed by the Wanderers and is anticipating the police to evict them. Officer Hopley eventually forces them to depart and updates Rossington that the Wanderers leased some land at the nearby farm. Prior parting ways, Gina comes up to Billy, retrieves a coin from her bosom, and then lifts her skirt playfully. Yet, she suddenly raises her finger and spits on the ground before rejoining her kin. In the night, Billy and Heidi head to a diner to celebrate his success with some buddies. However, Heidi urges him to go when the server brings the sweets. On their way back home, Heidi tries to keep Billy's mind off food by engaging in some mischievous behavior while he's driving. At the nearby drugstore, Tadzu, the leader of the gypsies, and his daughter are purchasing medication. The daughter realizes she's chilly and steps outside to fetch her jacket from the car. While crossing the road, she doesn't notice Billy's approaching car. Because Billy is preoccupied with Heidi's playful gestures, he doesn't spot the girl and unintentionally hits her, causing her immediate death. The following day, Billy attends a formal inquiry. Hopley states that Billy was not under the influence and was driving within the speed limit. As a result, Rossington concludes that Tadzu's daughter's demise was entirely accidental. In truth, Hopley and Rossington are providing false testimony to assist Billy, who goes unpunished and is set free. On getting outside, Tadzu walks up to Billy and uses his thumb to suddenly touch his face, mumbling, "Thinner," and leaves. Few days passed, and Billy gets the shock of his life after he examined his weight, and it's his 283. This amazed him because he never stopped eating too much. Giving it no much thoughts, Billy gets on with golf, playing with his friends Rossington and Dr. Mike. Just looking at him, they could tell that Billy has lost some weight. Nevertheless, a man by the corner mocks him, but Billy immediately turns, grabs his buttocks, insulting the man back. Something he never could do when he was fatter. While in the changing room, Rossington shows Mike a rather weird thing growing on his skin, but he says it's much stress, advising applying ointment. Billy examines his weight again, and he has lost yet another 2 pounds. As they bathe, Rossington tells Billy that Tadzu came up to him too and touched him down there, which looks bad. The days keep passing, and Billy loses another 25 pounds. This makes his wife begin to freak out as she thinks this may be an early clue of cancer. She tells him to go consult with Mike. Billy goes for testing, and as the result comes out, Mike assures him that he is very much healthy. In the next scene, Billy consults his tailor, who prepares to make new cloths for him as he gets thinner. His recent size from his tailor's measurement shock him, so he checks his weight again, which currently seats at 230 pounds. His tailor happily asks how he did it, and he said to him, "It's a rather hard process." During dinner, Billy eats loads of food as he has noticed that too much eating makes him lose more weight. Linda looks disturbed about her father's actions, but when he tries to cheer her up, she storms off to her room. Billy eats a whole lot of food that his wife shouts at him, but he says he didn't eat lunch at the office and he need to eat more to gain more weight. He thinks Heidi caused the accident, but she says he never told her to stop, and she decides to send Linda to stay at her aunt's place so she doesn't have to witness him like this. Later at a diner, Billy and Mike meet. Billy tells him he consulted a specialist and figured out he doesn't have a tapeworm, so he'll have to go to a clinic. At that time, Billy sees Rossington's wife Lita eating by herself and looking unhappy. Mike reveals that Rossington is away checking on his sister, but Billy knows Rossington doesn't have a sister. After eating, Billy visits Rossington's home. Initially, Lita fibs, saying her husband is away visiting family. When Billy mentions his crazy weight loss, she makes a clue that he was influenced by Tadzu's touch. This made her reveal that Rossington went to a clinic to treat his skin abnormality. As Tadzu touched Rossington, he murmured, "lizard." Ever since then, Rossington's skin started turning scaly and his hands looked more claw-like. Lita was convinced her husband and Billy were cursed by a fortune-teller lady, but Billy didn't think curses were real. As Lita panicked, she shoved Billy away because she blamed him for the curse. This was because he had killed the fortune-teller lady before, but Billy reminded Lita that Rossington had also kept Billy's wrongdoing a secret. Billy left after Lita splashed alcohol at his face. He decided to call his friend Richie to ask if fortune-teller curses were real. Richie asked her Italian mom about it. The mom said these curses were definitely real, and that only the curser could remove the curse. Later, while Heidi drove Billy to the doctors, he told her about the curse, but she didn't believe in that silly idea. Heidi and Billy engage in an ongoing argument, and during a tense moment on the road, Heidi narrowly avoids a truck. Billy ends up spending days at the clinic undergoing numerous tests, all of which yield perfect results, leaving the doctors baffled. Feeling restless, Billy visits Hopley, who, like him, has fallen victim to a curse resulting in unsightly bumps on his skin. Hopley, seeking revenge, gives Billy a gun, but Billy refuses, emphasizing the need to keep Tadzu alive to break the curse. An intense confrontation with Hopley ensues, leading to Billy's hasty departure. Later, the sound of a gunshot reveals that Hopley has taken his own life. Returning home, Billy encounters Mike leaving his house, sparking suspicions of an affair between Mike and Heidi. Inside, as Heidi tries to talk to him, Billy becomes fixated on the idea of her involvement with Mike. Frustrated with his cursed predicament, Billy rejects returning to the clinic and, in a fit of frustration, throws food at Heidi, declaring that he's being erased. The following day, Billy hires a detective who traces the gypsy caravan's location to the Maine coast. Back home, he discovers Heidi and Mike contemplating legal action against him. Billy pretends to agree to return to the clinic, but instead, he drives to Maine in search of the gypsies. Discovering the caravan camp empty, he approaches the realtor who leased the land to them. The realtor discloses that Mike and Heidi have posted wanted posters for Billy. To obtain information, Billy must pay or risk the realtor informing his wife. After securing the realtor's silence, Billy notices a gypsy fair sign at a hotel. Upon arrival, he finds Tadzu and Gina selling dolls resembling him, Rossington, and Hopley. Gina hurls a doll at Billy, initiating a chase. Rossington, now covered in scales, rescues Billy. Gina damages their car windows with a slingshot, but they escape just before further harm. Racing towards a bridge, they encounter a fire truck driven by Tadzu. Despite Rossington's attempts to stop, a collision becomes inevitable. In another direction, a school bus, also under Tadzu's control, collides with the car. Simultaneously, Billy awakens in his hotel room, realizing the entire episode was a nightmarish illusion. Anxious, he attempts to contact Rossington, but Lita, Rossington's wife, sadly informs him that her husband has taken his own life. Distraught, Billy discovers the abandoned fair and inquires about the caravan's whereabouts. Guided by a stranger, he embarks on a journey, eventually stumbling upon the gypsy camp. However, Gina, a member of the camp, perceives Billy as a demonic figure, disregarding his emaciated appearance when he bares his chest. Tadzu, the leader, adamantly refuses to lift the curse placed on Billy. Desperate, Billy pleads on his knees, but Tadzu dismisses him, issuing threats. Enraged, Billy retaliates by cursing the gypsies in return, yet they mock him. Stubbornly remaining at the camp, Gina injures Billy with a slingshot, piercing his hand. Seeking aid, he contacts Richie, who advises him to visit his summer house discreetly. Richie arranges for a discreet doctor to attend to Billy's injuries, though the pain remains unmanageable. The following day, Richie observes Billy's alarming weight loss, noting that he is below 130 pounds. Additionally, he informs Billy that Heidi, presumably a significant person in his life, has signed legal documents compelling Billy to be admitted to a mental hospital. Just so he could help Billy, Richie covertly infiltrates the gypsy camp at night, contaminating the dogs and leaving a note urging them to lift the curse. Later, he stops at a gas station, compensating a young man to inform him of any changes in the gypsy's location. The following day, the informant notifies Richie about the new camp, but he is ambushed by Gina and her husband. However, Richie gets weapon-filled boxes, and at the same time, Billy discovers a grim message from the gypsies, finding the young man's lifeless body with a chicken head in his mouth and the word "never" on his forehead. Enraged, Richie prepares for revenge, disregarding Billy's pleas to spare lives. In the evening, he infiltrates the camp, subdues Gina's husband, and unleashes gunfire, resulting in casualties, vehicle destruction, and a fiery explosion. Misidentifying Gina's husband as the enemy, they fatally shoot him. After Richie departs, the group discovers a note on the deceased man, pleading for the curse to be lifted. The following day, law enforcement visits the camp for an inquiry. Richie assumes the role of an FBI agent, engaging Gina in conversation and coaxing her into a barn. Unbeknownst to Gina, Billy observes from a distance. Inside the barn, Richie stages a threat by splashing liquid on Gina's face, falsely claiming it's acid. In the ensuing struggle, Richie strikes Gina, prompting Billy's intervention to prevent her harm. Instead of causing immediate harm, Richie places a jar of actual acid on Gina's forehead and leaves a message for Tadzu, instructing him to meet at the lighthouse in 2 hours. Once the men depart, Gina cautiously removes the acid, escaping to her group. Tadzu arrives at the lighthouse later, motivated to save Gina. To break the curse, he wounds Billy's hand and allows the blood to seep into a pie. With the curse now in the filling, Billy must feed the pie to someone else for the curse to take effect. Before heading home, Billy contacts Linda and instructs her to spend the night at her friend's residence. Upon his return a few days later, appearing healthier, Billy gives a pie to Heidi as retribution for her unfaithfulness. The following morning, Billy is gratified to discover Heidi's decomposing body beside him, even going so far as to kiss it on the mouth to savor the sweetness. However, upon descending the stairs, he realizes Linda has already returned and consumed the pie. Overwhelmed by guilt after Linda departs for school, Billy contemplates indulging in pie himself. But in that moment, Mike arrives to check on the family. Eager for more revenge, Billy invites him in to share some pie. Thanks for joining us on this thrilling cinematic journey, short movie recap fans. If you're hungry for more twists, turns, and epic moments, don't hit pause just yet. Click on the video showing on the screen for an exclusive sneak peek into our next movie masterpiece. Trust us, you won't want to miss what's coming up in the world of short movie recap. Hit that next video and let the movie magic continue.